agenda is the library's 2025 facilities plan, updated plan. I have been led to understand that there is an issue with some of the councillors in respect to the voluntary library aspects of this. So my recommendation is that we send the plan, the updated plan, back to the Community Housing Economic Development Committee and ask that they report back to the council once they've dealt with that issue. I mean, I know that one of the councillors who isn't here has raised specific concerns around the volunteer library aspects of it, and I'd much rather that the document was satisfactory across the board, if I possibly could.
Can I just make a comment? Because while I wasn't able to be at the bus exchange, I was talking to the people doing this outside. Could we just send the volunteer libraries component of it back so that the rest, which has been worked on for 2 years, which has gone through every community board twice.
Yeah. All right. No, that's fine. All right. So,
do you want to hear a comment from them?
Is that preferable to just send the volunteer libraries part back?
Yeah. Look, I'm sorry, I didn't realise you were going to be moving quite this quickly. I'm very pleased. This report's been going around in circles, back and forth, in and out for well over 2 years. The 2025 report that we're talking about basically incorporates the findings of the volunteer libraries review. It isn't the review. So it incorporates the thinking out of that, which has been well circulated around community boards. Some of the detail that one of the councillors was asking for is available. It will have no impact on the 2025 report that we have in front of you at the moment. We're happy to keep working our way through anything relating to the voluntary libraries review. There'll be projects that will come out of that which will have their own life and approval process through council. It doesn't make those happen any more than anything else, putting anything else in the plan. It would be a shame if this didn't get through.
Does the way that it's written up now, does that resolve that?
Councillor Johansson has raised an issue with me around the way the volunteer libraries have been dealt with in this report, and I still need to drill down with him further into that to see exactly what it is that he's not comfortable with. He's seeing a need for the volunteer libraries part of the work to go back to the relevant community boards. He feels that there's some information that hasn't been captured that the community boards would want to share and haven't had the opportunity to do so. Now, this work was going on under the old Communities Committee rather than under the current committee. So Yanni would have had more oversight over that than I do at the moment. I mean, I see nothing wrong with the main libraries part of the report. If there are some genuine concerns with the volunteer libraries part of it, I would prefer to get that sorted out before that's adopted if there is some uncertainty around it or some unease about it. And the easiest way to do that would be to bring the volunteer libraries part of it back to the committee. I mean, my intention here is to get this wrapped up as quickly as possible because I'm aware that a huge amount of work has gone on, a lot of staff time has gone into it, and we just need to find out what it is that Councillor Johansson is so unhappy about that he feels that we can't adopt this today and get it wrapped up as quickly as we possibly can.
Well, we could adopt it.
Phil?
We could always just put it to a vote.
I think for Andrew's a relatively new, well, it's been a new committee set up, and if Councillor Andrew Turner wishes to have this drilled down to be all perfected, if you like, I can support that. However, it is fair to say that in fact the report has been to all of the community boards, and the library staff have been along to all of the community boards, including the Hagley Ferrymead one. So I've got the attachment here. It was an attachment to the earlier report, not attached to our council report, and the information is here. And one of the differences is that now in effect the former community libraries, and perhaps Mr. Aiken can confirm this or deny, that in fact those older libraries are now under the community facilities projects. And as a council, we have had long discussions on those and decided on things like the first tranches. So I just want to be clear that if in fact it requires further teasing out, I accept that, but this has certainly been covered very, very carefully in my view.
Tim.
Just very simply, library staff are very aware how important voluntary libraries are to the elected members. That is correct?
Yes.
And so therefore, under 16 of this, consultation is recommended with voluntary library committees, and that can be done in any way, shape or form, working with the elected members and staff, yes?
We work with the volunteer libraries, happy to work with them.
Yeah.
There's no problem.
I'm actually happy to move this forward, absolutely. I mean, Michael's given the assurance, and they're fully aware of how important voluntary libraries are to our communities and the elected members.
Well, nobody's moved and seconded. Okay, so
What are you moving? Is it this or
no.
back to
Reinstate.
reinstate?
Take out the words. Hang on. So moved by Raf, seconded by Tim. Any discussion? Paul?
It's just around Yana's concern. One of the main concerns is around the Woolston Volunteer Library working in some pretty dingy circumstances at the moment, and the report sort of talks about they're quite happy, but we've had a deputation to the committee that they weren't very happy at all, and I think they wanted the work around that actually moved up the scale a wee bit, because if you look at the Hagley Ferrymead ward and the distance between where libraries are, there is quite a distance between where people can access libraries, especially from in the Woolston area. So perhaps you could...
Michael?
There is money aside in tranche 2 of the facilities rebuild program. I see Darren Moses is here. There's 1.65 million in there at the moment for libraries and toilets. I think the big change with the voluntary libraries, and many of the councillors who are on the committee will understand this, is to see them as a function that may take place in a community facility
Correct.
that may be used for a wider range of
That's right.
issues, rather than, I think,
Standalone.
one particular councillor was much more interested in seeing them as standalone entities in themselves. And I think that's where the disagreements lay, and it's been a constant disagreement throughout the consultation process.
I don't think that anyone around this table believes that they are a standalone. You know, does anyone think they should be standalone? They're part of a community facility. I agree. Yep.
And for St Martin's, we've got a very good outcome with regards to the St Martin's Voluntary Library, working with the St Martin's Voluntary Toy Library, age group, everything. It's going to be a fantastic outcome, and probably the best that we could have hoped for, and better than the original. But I mean, there's so much work to do. It has to be done in stages, and some are in front of the others. It's just the way it is.
Andrew?
And I think the staff will work that done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly understand the need for this report to be adopted, and I appreciate all of the work that's been done. When I've got one committee member coming to me with some serious misgivings around one aspect of the report, I need to take that seriously. I feel that I need the opportunity for the committee to traverse this one more time, so that I, as the committee chair, can be absolutely comfortable we've got this right, so that we can put it behind us. Because I know that if we don't, we're likely to have it raised time and time again until such time it is resolved. My view is that we're better to resolve it once and for all and adopt it confidently. I'm certainly happy for the remainder of the report to be adopted. There's no issue with that at all. I'm sure if the voluntary libraries aspect of the report comes through the committee, the result will be that the committee will adopt that, or if there are small changes required, then they would be adopted, and we can then, obviously very quickly adopt that part of the report as well. But I would like to separate that out so that it can be reviewed one more time by the committee, so that everybody has the opportunity to be comfortable with it, and so that I've got the opportunity as the committee chair to know that we've got it absolutely right. If there remains after that part of the process one person who remains uncomfortable because their view is different than the view of others, then that's where it would land. But I think we just need to have the opportunity to have everybody comfortable with this if we possibly can.
In order that the record reflects that comment, why don't you move that the 6.1, that the updated voluntary libraries review be referred to your committee? Yep. And I'll second that so that we can debate that.
An idea to give that committee delegated authority over the decision they come to. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, and that the committee be delegated authority to confirm. It doesn't have to come back here, no.
I mean, I would anticipate that there wouldn't be any major changes, to be honest.
That doesn't mean it's going to pass, but it's for the record. All right. We can debate it if we want to. Right. Is there any discussion? Tim?
I'll be voting against the amendment. I think we've been given full assurance by council staff. We have been going round and round in circles. I believe it's comments or concerns from one councillor. I'm more than happy with what has been said by staff, and I will be voting against the amendment and voting to support the report going through. It's been a hell of a lot of work done, and it's time to move forward. Thank you.
Yeah. Andrew?
Yeah, I will obviously be supporting the amendment. I just want this to land in the right place. I want to do the piece of work that one last time so that we can be confident that we've got it right, and so that the other members of the committee can be absolutely confident that we've got it right. If there are changes that are agreed that need to be made, all well and good. If there are not, then at least we've had the opportunity to discuss it, to review it, to make sure that this has landed in the right place, and we can then put the whole discussion behind us, which I think is the thing that we've been needing to do for some time. So I just want to deal with it confidently so that we can get ourselves into that space rather than there being any contention around this particular aspect of the report.
I'm just thinking that, listening to you, that the word decision needs to turn into the ability to adopt any changes. Oh, it's a delegated authority to make any changes, yeah, or to adopt any changes. Jamie?
Yeah, just really quickly with that, I'll be voting against it. Don't disagree with the sentiment, but look, the most important aspect with decision making is that you actually make one. And I think the worst thing you do is if you split this all up into higgledy bits, it just loses all traction. Staff are on the same page with us. Let's be realistic about it. Move forward. Perfect doesn't exist, but this is good, and we will continue to strive for it afterwards. So let's make a decision.
Very good. All right, I'll put the amendment. Yanni?
We are on a different page than staff. This is part of the problem. So the recommendations that are in the report are different to the ones that we've passed as councillors. So we have to get that clarified, and this is the best mechanism to do it. So the problem is that the recommendations that have been put into that report haven't formally gone through the normal recommendation process that we would normally do as council. If we're changing a resolution, we would actually have a report that says why we're changing it. Staff have just made some comments and they're being taken as the way forward against what we've already agreed. So I support the amendment and I'd urge other councillors to support it, and I just had to challenge what Councillor Goff is saying.
Right, I'll put the amendment. All those in favour of the amendment say aye. 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 Those opposed say no. No. Let's have a vote on that. So that is carried. So now we will vote on the substantive motion. I'll put that. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. Thank you very much. Now, the next item on the agenda is the